This, issue number 27, is where the concept of him having mental health issues appears. Also, a very nice Frank Miller cover. We're going to talk about issue number 27, which is titled Cop Killers. Now, there are a couple of things I want to point out, and that is first, we're getting this story from the point of view of Stephen Grant, not Mark Spector. As you see in the caption below, Stephen Grant introduces himself and Jake Lockley and says they're Moon Knight. Notice there's no mention of Mark Spector. Also, I'm not sure if it's coincidence, but if you check the creators on this book, the guest writer for this issue is a real writer named Stephen Grant. The story is pretty much about how plainclothes cops in New York City are being killed. I think the number is up to 7, and Jake Lockley goes and talks to one of the plainclothes cops so he can get some information. And now Moon Knight is on the job. So Moon Knight goes down to the precinct dressed as a cop so he can get some information, and he breaks into the office of Lieutenant D.I.D and Sergeant Fulcelli, and of course he gets caught. But this is Moon Knight, so out the window we go. What he learns from those files, though, is that all 7 of the cops that were killed right after investigating Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. And this is also the first meeting between the two. And while Moon Knight accuses Kingpin, Kingpin tells Moon Knight that he's not the culprit, and the cops were on his payroll, and they were dirty. Meanwhile, after the confrontation with Kingpin, we get another couple of cops shot, and Moon Knight in the vicinity, and D.I.D and Fulcelli are out there to clean up the mess, let everybody know that Moon Knight is not the culprit. And after going home and sleeping on it, Steven figures out what he needs to know about this case. Also, another case of Steven not only shying away from Mark Spector, but keeping Mark Spector locked up. He really does not like Mark at this point. And as a person new to Moon Knight, I figured this had to be jarring to the original readers. Anyway, what Steven figured out was it was either D.I.D or Fulcelli who was killing these plainclothes cops, because who else would know who plainclothes cops were besides other cops? Fulcelli also figured out that it was D.I.D. And as they were about to take each other out, Moon Knight busts down the door, takes out D.I.D, but he also has to take down Fulcelli because he was about to be a killer too. And that was the quick down and dirty on Moon Knight issue number 27, and maybe the first time a character actually writes his own story and puts his name in the credit. I'm just joking, but am I?